Hey everyone, I am KaylaNicole999. Welcome back to my channel. I bet many of you are wondering, where in the hell have I been? It is a long story. So I'm going to try to just give you like a really quick recap of what's been going on. So in September 2021, my grandparents both got COVID. My grandmother has dementia, and I rushed down there to care for them. My grandfather was incredibly sick. He had COVID, pneumonia, multiple pulmonary embolisms, and he had been so malnourished that he was weighing only 89 pounds by the time he got to the hospital. Now, it took me 3 days to get the man to the hospital. He was refusing to go. He didn't have a clue who I was, but I knew if I didn't get him there, I was going to watch him die. Anyway, fast forward. My grandmother was vaccinated, so she just got a very mild case of COVID. My grandfather was unvaccinated, and he was in the hospital for weeks. And then he spent months in a nursing home recovering. Now, he did make a full recovery. One doctor said that he had pneumonia for at least 3 weeks before he contracted COVID. Another doctor thinks he had COVID first and pneumonia. We're not here to discuss this. Okay, so anyway, in order to care for my grandparents, I had to reconnect with my mother. Oh dear God. Many of you who have been watching for a long time know that my mother's a narcissist. And I knew this was going to turn out badly, but I just didn't know how bad. Long story short, turns out my grandmother is very narcissistic too, and I never knew. I probably still wouldn't know if it weren't for her dementia. Her dementia is so far progressed, she didn't have a clue who I was, and she was treating me incredibly badly. Now, I know dementia can cause people to be mean too, but the thing is, I would watch my grandma treat me like absolute shit. I mean, she was calling me a fucking bitch. She was giving me the silent treatment. She was just being awful to me anytime I told her no. And I had to tell her no for her safety. I mean, the woman would eat an entire bag of candy and then get sick. It was bad. So I had to take the candy away from her. I had to hide the candy. I had to do things for her health, but she hated me because of it. So she would sit there and treat me like absolute crap. And then the doorbell would ring, and all of a sudden she was all smiles and happy as could be and nice and sweet as ever. It was literally like she flipped a fucking light switch. She was acting like my mom. And it was a hard fucking pill for me to swallow because I never knew this side of my grandma. On top of this, my own mother started, she had been stalking me for a while apparently. Although I have her blocked on most social media channels or most social media sites, my mother creates fake accounts so that she can stalk me because she can't handle not knowing what's going on in her daughter's life. She was stalking me on Instagram and she was reporting my posts. She got her and some other trolls ended up getting my Instagram shut down. Right before that, I do not know if my mom was a part of this because I don't know if my mother has a Twitter, but a bunch of trolls got my Twitter shut down. So I no longer have a Twitter, I no longer have an Instagram. Yeah, sure, I could make a new account, But at this point, I'm just so tired of this shit that I don't want to. So I'm still on Facebook. I'm still on TikTok. I have a few other social media accounts, but those are really the only ones that I'm using at the moment. Excuse me. So, if you're wondering what happened to my accounts, well, anyway, things ended up getting so fucking bad between my mom and me that I had to call the cops on her. I told them that I did not want to press charges, but they asked me what was going on. And after I read the messages that my mother was sending me, both text messages and in the comments of my Instagram, the officer told me, and this was a female officer, and she said, your mom sounds like a really mean person. You need to go no contact with her ASAP again. You need to give her back the car that she's letting you borrow because I don't want her to have anything to hold over your head. And yes, you do have enough to file a restraining order on your mom. I didn't want to do that, the restraining order part. So I decided not to. And I decided I was going to have to cut ties with my entire family. I was going to have to give up my position as a caregiver for my grandmother. My grandfather was still in the nursing home at this point. I have not been able to talk to my grandfather. He doesn't have a fucking clue what's going on, and I need to get down there and I need to talk to him. But life is kind of hectic right now, so I need to figure that out later. Right before this, I was getting harassed, I guess I'll call it, by this other guy that I had met recently. A man that I didn't even kiss. Oh my god, that is such a long story. He is known as the creepy cable guy, and we're not going to go into that right now because that story would just take too long, but I am going to make an entire video just about the creepy cable guy and what happened there. So anyway, I hightailed it out of my grandparents' house. After I told my uncle, my grandma's brother, that I was going to file a restraining order on my mom, and he started screaming at me in front of my grandma with dementia, telling me, Kayla, she doesn't need this shit, and going on and on and on. And I'm just sitting there, I'm like, oh my fucking god. And so I look at the man and I'm like, she doesn't need you screaming in her house, and if you continue yelling, I'm gonna call the cops on you. And so then my uncle sits there and looks me dead in the eyes and says, if you call the cops on me, I'm gonna tell them that you're abusing your grandmother. He grabs my grandma and he leaves. So I call my aunt, my grandma's sister, and I'm like, look, your brother just went psycho on me and I can't do this shit anymore. And she's like, I think it'll just be best if you leave. Like, it's just gonna be better for you if you go. And I was like, okay, cool. So I started packing my shit, and she had to come and pick me up and take me to a hotel, which my ex paid for. Anyway, I was at that hotel for like 3 days, not having a fucking clue what I was doing, what I was going to do. It was at this point that my mom succeeded in getting my Instagram shut down by reporting so many of my posts. Toxic fucking parents. Anyway, it turns out that, pretty much everyone on my grandma's side for the most part are fucking narcissistic. And this is something, I'm 38 years old, you guys. I just turned 38 and I did not know this about my family. So anyway, my plan was to move to another state. I was just gonna pack my shit, my dog, in a rental car because I didn't even have a fucking car at the time, and go to this other state. So my ex is helping me out with money because I left my grandmother's house with $50 fucking dollars in my checking account. My aunt did give me $200 that she had on her, but I had no money. I hadn't even received my first paycheck for being my grandmother's caretaker yet. It was just a mess. So I reserved a rental car online, and I'm texting my friends from the city that I lived in, that I had moved away from to be my grandmother's caregiver because I let go of my apartment and everything in that city. And one of my friends well, I really want to see you before I go, so I'm going to drive down there and take you to the rental car place, which was an hour and a half away. And as much as I didn't want her to make that trip, because that's a long way, it was a 3-hour drive for her, and then she had to turn around and drive 1.5 hours back to take me to the rental car place, plus another 1.5 hours to get home. But I was so appreciative of it because I didn't know how else I was going to get there. So she comes and she picks me up and everything's going smoothly until we get to the rental car place. Now, I'm filing bankruptcy. I don't know if I ever told you guys that story. Oh my god, my life is such a mess. Anyway, because I'm filing bankruptcy, I have absolutely no credit cards at the moment, just a debit card. And so they allowed me to reserve this rental car online. And it was going to be very, very expensive because it was a one-way trip. But I walk into the rental car office and I start filling everything out, and they're like, oh, well, we can't rent to you without a major credit card. And I'm like, what? They let me reserve this online. They didn't say anything about it then. And they're like, well, we're sorry. Rules are rules. So I'm sitting in my friend's car and I'm just like, holy fuck, what the hell am I supposed to do? She's trying to figure out how to help me. We like rack our brains and we finally decide nothing's going to work. So I have nowhere to go, barely any money, and I'm like, what the fuck do I do? Thank God for good friends, you guys. She just literally looks at me and she is like, you're coming home with me. And I was like, but what about your man? Like, is he gonna be okay with this? And she's like, I don't know. I'm just gonna show up with you. And so she did. She literally took me home with her, me and my dog. Thankfully, her man was very cool about it when she explained the situation to him. And I have been living with them since December. Here it is, the end of March. Now I did go out and get a job within a few weeks of moving in with them. I went back to driving rideshare because my friend, between her and her man, they have 4 children. And I do not have a bedroom. I sleep on their couch. And so as far as working cam and doing my adult content creating, not something I can do from their house. So yeah, I did go back to driving rideshare. Got my bankruptcy paid off finally. I was able to save enough money in the first month of living with them to get my bankruptcy paid off. So that is finally progressing and moving smoothly, sorry. After, it took me like a full fucking year. Like, I couldn't come up with the money to pay it for an entire year until my friend decided to help me out. So yeah, I'm renting a car to drive rideshare because I still do not have a car and I don't have money for a car, and I would never ever use my own car to drive rideshare again, but that is for another video too. Anyway, I'm making decent money, and it finally got to the point where I'm able to rent a hotel room once a week to make content with. So yes, I'm still an OnlyFans girl. I am still making content for Pornhub. So March is my 2-year anniversary of being on Pornhub, and guys, I am like this fucking close to hitting 1 million views. Yes. Okay. Anyway, things are progressing, but I can't make as much content as I want. I can't cam that much. It's been really hard to cam from the hotel room just because I'm trying to make content and I'm trying to cam all in one day, and I'm literally driving rideshare at least 6 days a week, sometimes 7 days a week, on top of going to the hotel room, and I'm fucking exhausted. Yes, I am at my hotel room right now making content, and I'm about to hop on cam for a little bit, which is why I'm dressed like this, which is why I'm also not moving my legs because I have no panties on. Anyway, so I am only going to be camming on 2 sites. I'm only going to be camming on StreamMate and my free cams, but I don't have a set schedule for it yet. I am trying to make it so that I cam the same day every week, so that I get rent the hotel room the same day every week. That way I can cam. At the same time, I'm trying to get on both websites in the same day, plus make content for, oh my god, it's hell, it's hectic. I'm currently saving up money for an apartment. I don't know when I'm gonna get that because of the bankruptcy. I'm gonna have to probably save up a good chunk of cash and pay at least quite a few months in cash in advance because my credit is shit right now. But as soon as I get an apartment, in the very, very expensive city that I'm living in. Like, the average 1-bedroom in the city that I'm currently living in cost $1,500 a month. That's fucking insane out here, you guys. But once I get an apartment, I will be able to cam and make content more regularly. So yeah, that's where I'm at in life right now. The main websites I'm making content for, I only have 4. OnlyFans, my Model Central account, which is my main KaylaNicole999 account, Pornhub, and Unlocked. I started a new site called Unlocked, and I'm pretty sure I made a video regarding that. Oh my god, it's been so long since I've even looked at my YouTube channel. I'm sorry, I haven't been creating content. Seriously considering starting a podcast, so we'll see. Anyway, I want to try to make at least one YouTube video a week on top of my crazy hectic schedule, so we'll see how that goes. But I haven't forgotten about you all. I love you all. Thank you for staying with me as a subscriber. I hope you are all doing great. And if you have any questions for me, or just any comments period, then, be sure to drop me a comment. If you just want to send me some love, send me some hearts in the comments or whatever. Anyway, I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. Yes, my life is a shit show, but it's getting better. Just remember that. It is getting better. Things always get better. When you hit rock bottom, you ain't got nowhere to go but up, okay? Alright, guys, if you like this video, please be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit that like button. And if you want to be notified every time I release a new video, then hit that little bell in the corner. And yeah, you'll be notified whenever I release new content. Thanks again for watching, and I will hopefully see you all next week. Bye, loves.